got our first guest who's coming up, who's actually going to start talking around a broader overlook of the sports industry, taking a slight step back and zooming out and looking overall at how the sports industry has evolved and changed over the last few years, and maybe some key takeaways moving forwards as well. So for her insights and expert knowledge, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Mario Kohlhaas, the director of the Johan Cruyff Institute.
Thank you, James. I will put this a little bit higher. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here again, and thank you for inviting us, the Johan Cruyff Institute, this year again in SPORTBIZ Europe. And for me, it's a pleasure to setting the scene for the upcoming 2 days and give you a general overview of where we are as a global sports business. And also, I'd like to see how our ecosystem is changing, and we're also going to highlight some disruptions on different levels. So let's get started. First of all, let's see where we stand as a business now globally. Well, a general revenue of $487 billion worldwide. This is the market generally, and you can see that here EMEA is having the largest part of the market, the largest market share within the global sports market. A global compound annual growth rate of 5.5%. And we see here that APEC still has 30% market share. And if we see and we look forward to 2027, we see that things are changing in the global sports market. We see here already APEC with the 20%. We will talk about a little bit later about the impact also of technology in this region of the sports market. We see that LATAM is reducing a little bit the market share, and also EMEA, mainly because of the European markets, because Middle East is rapidly growing. Mainly in Europe, it might be that for the situation of the sports market in general, and also alternative entertainment formats are having an impact on the market share in Europe. And the United States consolidating growth. Now, if we see with a little bit more detail how this is going to change, and this is from PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is here elaborates and publishes the sports survey on how 800 opinion leaders and professionals within the sports industry foresee what's going to happen in the sports industry. And we can see here by region how these percentages of expected market growth over the upcoming 4 years, but also what has been happening in the last 4 years. Well, here we can see that the United States is consolidating, not a big considerable growth. Mainly some growth is being generated in the United States in any case because of the media rights market. Latin America is reducing in this, or is expected to have a reduced market growth. And we can see here that mainly the growth in the upcoming 4 years is going to be produced in Asia, in Australasia, and African countries, and the Middle East. Mainly because of also governmental support, financial support, so that there are a lot of investment being supported by the governments, mainly in China and Middle Eastern countries, in order to also support major sports events, which have been taking place already, but will even take place more in the upcoming 4 years. So this is how things are changing with the global sports market, and this how it is expected, at least, by the opinion leaders within our sports industry. Now let's have a look specifically on what's happening in sports events. Sports events, well, after COVID-19, which actually also the opinion leaders are of the opinion that the impact of COVID-19 has been, and the recovery of the impact has been faster than actually was expected. We can see here also a correlation between the kind of football, the kind of sport, in football, for example, in the EMEA region, and the market share. Of course, in EMEA, football is king sport. Same goes actually for Latin America, and also upcoming APEC. In the United States, of course, the American sports are baseball, basketball, and American football, which are the sports which major revenues are generating in this part of the world. And on the bottom of the presentation, you see also the potential of each sport has to increase turnover. So still headed by football, so football having the major potential to increase revenue, and the other sports, which you can see now. This picture is going to be influenced also in the upcoming years by the appearance, and it's actually already changing because of the appearance of betting. You can see that betting has a great potential and a compound average growth rate of 26%, of which the half, so 50%, is going to be generated in APAC. So this is an impact on the business and specifically on the sports events market, which is going to be considerable. And also the appearance of new sports, of course, esports. Already in the last years we have been seeing this, and this will even be growing in the upcoming years, which has even a greater potential to increase turnover than football has. And the new urban sports like parkour or mountain bike or skating, which is also new urban sports appearing, and will also have an impact on the potential of increasing revenues in our sports industry. In any case, the major sports event organizers will have to, besides looking at the betting impact and also looking at regulations in order to maintain transparency and responsibility, have a look at how they are also leaving a legacy. Susanne Klausa mentioned the legacy of the major sports events and also what you're leaving behind, and this major concern and growing concern about sustainability and smart venues. We will talk about that later on. So let me just, each year I always like to see this survey from KPMG, where the different professional European football clubs are being compared, and where they also analyze where they generate their revenues. And mainly the three revenue streams in European football are the match day, the broadcasting, media rights, and the commercial part, so sponsoring and merchandising, ticketing, and hospitality. And well, last year, King was Manchester United, so the club which is considered like doing the best, economically the best job, with a $644 million turnover. And actually, which is an increase of 17% of what Manchester United obtained the year before. You can see here Bayern München and AC Milan. We will see in the upcoming years how these revenues and also the composition and structure of their revenue streams are going to change due to the private equity getting in the capital of AC Milan. We will see that. So this has changed because some of you might already also have seen this last year. Then last year we still had the impact of COVID-19, and we saw that match day was like very small. Like Manchester United last year had a revenue stream through match day of 0.5%. So this year of last year it's already been 8.7%. So we're seeing now the European football clubs are gaining again their revenues through match day. In any case, the focus, which has been due to COVID-19 on cost reduction by the European football clubs, is still continuing. Whilst years ago, the clubs are very much focused on increasing revenue, the balance between cost reduction on the one hand and generating revenues on the other hand is getting more balanced, and cost reduction and optimizing resources are getting more and more important also in the European football clubs. In any case, European football clubs have to diversify the structure of their revenue streams. So balance more what's being generated between match day, broadcasting, and commercial. Important, of course, I know that the upcoming 2 days you're going to talk a lot about fan engagement and enriching the fan experiences. Also for the introduction and due to the introduction of smart venue technology, the experience of the fans before, during, and after a match is changing tremendously. And actually, This is very, very interesting and also important to dive deeper into, because the different services, and also actually due to the technology, offering a different viewer experience with LED displays and larger screens within the stadium. Also the connectivity within the stadium, but also the movement into the stadium, through the stadium and outside the stadium. Also more security and optimizing and putting the emphasis on the efficiency of crowd management will be each and every time more relevant also for European football clubs. Actually, this is not only for football the case, it's for sports in general the case, and it's not only for the clubs, but it's also, of course, important for the brands and for the other key players within our sports ecosystem. Okay, so this was like the overview a little bit where we stand as a global business, and I've also already highlighted some important aspects that will be a subject of this conference. Now let's have a look at how our ecosystem is changing in its structure, and also the players that are relevant within our system, within our industry. This is a system, sports ecosystem, that we have been seeing over the last decennia. So a very flat system where there are different players. We see very little connection between the players within the system. We see the different collaborations, public, private, but not in majority. And we see no real monetary flows, and we see no information here. So this system has been changed, and will change even more to this one, where we see a lot of new players. Also, of course, the media, the rights owners, the brands being through sponsorship important key player. We also see the athletes very prominent, and this we will see the athletes as protagonists and activists even more, and we've already seen some examples of this in the last years, of course. The arrows, which you see here in this system, are monetary flows, but also information flows. And here is where we see that a lot of content is being created, not only by the clubs, the leagues itself, but also by the media and the rights owners. And not only content is created, so the media and rights owners do not only they're not only providers of content, but also distributors. So we're seeing also that, and the leagues and the competitions have also opened up their own channels, have opened up their own platforms. So we're seeing also that besides that the players are increasing and it's getting more and more complex, the different players are also getting different roles. And here's, for example, the introduction of private equity and private investment is also very relevant. Actually, taking away some of the power that the sports bodies generally have within the ecosystem. So the introduction of private equity and more capital, and also the technological giants like Amazon or Apple that are also creating their own content, providing their own content, distributing their own content, and sending out through multi-channel strategies the content directly to where nearly all the arrows are directed and targeted to the fans. So directly to the fans, even the athletes creating their own content, reaching out directly to the fans. And this is really a new paradigm. This is really what we have been seeing over the last years already happening. And this means a lot for all the players in our ecosystem. It challenges us. We have to set new goals, we have to acquire new competencies, and we have to partner up. And what we see within our ecosystem is also more partnerships occurring. So, let's talk a little bit more about the new paradigm, and let's talk about technology. We see that within the ecosystem, it's much easier to enter. So the enter barriers have been reduced thanks to technology, disruptive technology, but also disruptive technology at the same time allows more people and more players to enter into this ecosystem. At the same time, all these players have to deal with a different kind of sports consumers. So the sports consumers are getting younger with a shorter attention span, each and every time shorter attention span, and also because they are consuming sports in a pluralistic way on different devices, simultaneously, socially, creating their own content, sharing their own content, and this is actually allowed and permitted and enabled through disruptive technology, but it makes it even each and every time also more complex. Sports tech nowadays represents a compound annual growth rate of 17.70%. Sorry. So it is expected in 2027. This is already representing 138 billion euros. Sorry. So very important and relevant, the impact that data analytics is having on our sports industry, and it's going to increase even more in the upcoming years. We can say that change is the new status quo. It is getting complexer, but it's also at the same time changing constantly, and technology is ahead of all the regulations as usual, but also the social part, the social users, and the adaptation to a new paradigm. Data, in any case, is the new currency for brand partnerships. And also through this survey, which I mentioned earlier by PricewaterhouseCoopers, a sports survey and the outlook of the upcoming years, it's not only, it's also considered that one thing is obtaining the data and analyzing data, but still many players within our ecosystem do not really know what to do with the data. And there's really a challenge to, through the data and based on the data, create new and enriched fan experiences and technology-driven fan engagement strategies. So, this content is king. We can see our composition of the different kinds of content and how the new consumers consume the content. And what is expected is that the green part here, which is 18% over the last years, is going to increase. The experiences and the content has to be simultaneously shorter and very attractive because of the reduced attention span of the younger generations. In any case, content goes direct from the creator to the fan, and it's not only increasing in volume, so more content that is available, but also in variety, and also in the way that the consumers want to experience and experience the content. So it's being supported by new technologies, artificial reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. Sorry. And also new ways, we're finding here opportunities, new ways to monetize these experiences and new ways and types of content. Let's now have a look at the third part of this presentation and what we expect is going to disrupt our global sports business in the upcoming years. And while this first one is the technological disruption, I've already mentioned some of the new innovations that are taking place. Of course, the gamification, so more gamification, also a way to monetize digital assets, creating a multi-layer ecosystem where we are combining different kinds of how sports is consumed, but also how sports is actually produced as such. A lot of opportunities here, which is still, and I know that there's going to be some panels on this, on the NFTs and how to monetize the digital assets, which is still being a challenge for many players within our ecosystem. Of course, data, not only data for new fan engagement strategies, but also to improve athlete performance. Actually, it's more or less 16% of all the data analytics is dedicated to the improvement of athlete performance, whilst like 70% is dedicated to fan engagement strategies. And the last percentage on smart venue technology, by the way. But we're here, and the technology disruption enables to make an even more magical and an even more enriched experience for the fans. And then, okay, of course, the smart venue, which offers a lot of opportunities also to enrich the experience. Another disruption is the social one. The social one where there's more relevant impact and more attention paid on the corporate social responsibility. The brands have to take this into account. You can see here some numbers that people really, each and every time, select their offer or their demand according to how these players are dealing with sustainability, with diversity, and really care about the triple bottom line. So people, planet, profit. This is what we have to take into account, also because it's having quite some impact on the sports industry. Diversity, I mentioned it before. Sustainability, caring about the planet, is each and every time more important. The smart value technology enables this, so it's very much focused also on creating more efficiency with the energy usage in the stadium, but also more attention to healthy lifestyles and anti-aging, well-being, of course the appearance of women and athlete activism in sports, and athletes, we already mentioned it, now reaching out directly to the fans. I know that there are also going to be some content on women. Important to mention, of course, not only each and every time more female athletes, female coaches, but also more female managers in leadership positions within the sports business, and also more female consumers. And this is also from PricewaterhouseCoopers from this year about specifically the interesting aspect of women as users, as consumers. Creates opportunities for brands to create fan engagement strategies, as they are also normally social media users, heavy social media users, and they have also the capacity to spend the money. So these are opportunities for all the players actually within our ecosystem to watch. And then I would like to end up with the geopolitical disruption. This is how we are now in our world, and this is a world map where we see Asia in the center and Australasia in the center of our world. If we take into account that 25 years ago the Formula One was only taking place nearly in Europe, and that last year it's actually the minority where the Formula One is taking place. If we see that Saudi Arabia is now also the host of the Paris-Dakar, and that, for example, Chinese investment in African countries is growing and growing. And in the Africa Cup of Nations, for example, 4 stadiums were built with Chinese investment, or through soft loans or direct investments, because China has an interest in not only the natural resources of African countries, but also to increase their own national economy. So we have to take into account that for each and every time, and also in future, sports is going to be seen as an attractive industrial sector to boost national economy, but also to create jobs, to improve images, and also to generate taxes and income. And this has an impact because these investments are going to determine how our sports business is going to evolve, and it's also going to determine how sport is conceived. So we really have to watch and have a look at, follow these disruptions very closely. Generally, we have to say that we are, as players within the sports industry, forced to have a more sophisticated approach, and that the future will be on making ourselves more attractive for investors, making the fan experiences more immersive, and to caring for and be more supportive for our athletes in general. So future really is about the investors, the fans, and the athletes. So finally, the people, right? So I would like to leave it here. We've seen generally an overview and some facts and figures about where we stand as an industry. We've seen that our ecosystem is getting each and every time more complex, that we have to watch the disruptions, technological disruptions, social and geopolitical disruptions in order to see what's ahead. And we're going to see a lot of this, I think, in the upcoming 2 days. So thank you very much.